Alright, Joey, nice job, buddy. You should go study for that Goldberg file. That thing is 87 slides.
Yeah,
right?
So government files are already here.
Yeah, they really are. You know, we've learned a lot this whole year, especially from that Civic mirror thing. That thing was really cool.
Yeah, and it really applies to real life too.
So, what do you mean you didn't apply it to real life? Like, what did you learn from the whole thing?
Well, I learned many things, but why don't we just start from the beginning? The hex auction.
Alright, so start out with the hex auction. So, you know, obviously I started out with a little less money, you started with a little bit more. But because I started out with a little less money, I decided to put my money along with others into one account in order to gain more capital, right? So that way we could get more assets, such as, like, I mean, we got the farm, so we get more food. We got the insurance tax, which I could get insurance from. Obviously, you know, for me, I could get first priority to those assets because I put my money into that same group. And obviously, like, I'm not saying that you didn't do the same thing, right? Like, what did you get? You got that?
Yeah, I did. I just took my money by myself, and so I didn't have to share, which I really liked, and it just made it less complicated for me. And also, I only needed to provide for myself, and I didn't need to care for others, which also made it a lot less complicated.
And that too, like, I mean, we learn all this, like, going back to what you said about, like, applying it to real life. It's just like, whatever we learn from even economics class, we can apply into this, and not only this, but also into real life as well.
Yeah, and I think that it's definitely also brings it also brings, like, smart buying skills, like prioritizing what you need versus what you want. And also, like, some things you can share them. Why not? If you save a lot of money for sharing them.
I mean, yeah, and again, that relates back to what we learned in economics class. I mean, it's perfect.
So I think that you learned lots of valuable buying strategies during this event. Well, the different approaches to the hex auction are also the different approaches to the Civic mirror simulation.
Right, like for me, like, so I remained in my group. Joey, like you said, you remained solo throughout the whole Civic mirror simulation. So for me, like, being in a group, I was able to, like, have allies and, like, have a group that was able to support me, and that allows me to have a little more flexibility. And that because I wasn't able to have a good start because I didn't start out with too much money, didn't have a business. I basically was able to rely on these groups because as I chipped in my money, I was able to receive those from those goods from the farm, and as well because we own the insurance tax, I was able to get those goods as well. And also, like, even though you depend on those assets, you need to have a backup plan because, like, generally you should be kind of skeptic. You don't really know the hidden agendas of those other people, and you should be kind of careful. And that's why, like, I know, like, now that I really need to have that backup plan.
Yeah, that's definitely, there are some positive aspects, but that's definitely a big negative, is that you're always unsure of what they're going to do, and I mean, hopefully you can rely on them, but you're just not positive. So that's just definitely not a good thing about being in a group. And also, that's one of the reasons why I wasn't in a group. But also, I had a business, so I didn't need a group to survive.
Yeah, you had the option.
Yeah, I could rely on myself. So, also, I mean, I think that we definitely took different approaches, but I think that they were both fairly good. And we were generally able to be successful in the long run as well. Yeah, we were both successful, but we both took different approaches.
Right.
Yeah, so how do you, I mean, and like you said about applying it to real life, what do you, I think that there's different things that apply to real life. Like, I think that you need to be able to trust your,
in order to do that, you really need to be able to, like, kind of see what friends that you need in order to trust them. You need to be able to kind of know which ones that you can and can't trust in order to succeed.
Also, like, just working together. Like, you work together in the simulation to be able to get everything that everybody needed. Also, just working together in real life. It doesn't necessarily just have to be getting your stuff, getting everything you need. Just working together. You just need to be able to work together to be successful.
And let's say you have a business, right? So for you and your partner, if you, like, let's say that you ditch him and go for yourself, and then he's left stranded by himself, and if it's vice versa, one or the other person becomes unsuccessful, and that's really,
so
you can't really do that.
So you know who you can trust and who you can work with. I think that's a good lesson to learn from this. So Rob, it's not about being in a group or not being in a group. You can do good or bad either way. But I think something that does matter is, the other things that does matter, like hidden agenda.
Right, I mean, so for me, I was a fascist, so in order to accomplish my goals of being a fascist, so I had to make a name for myself and distinguish myself from others. and establishing a point that I can do a great deal within the society. And like for me, in order to do so, like I felt that I could do that way. I could do that through making the participation bill. So obviously, that kind of showed my power because I was able to create a bill that was very controversial that the public very much didn't like, but because kind of I was able to influence the legislative branch into passing that bill.
Yeah, he's got a.
And like for me,
Yeah, I get it.
and in order to kind of do better within that part, I feel like I really could have made a better plan and made a more detailed plan of the steps I would take to accomplish those goals. And like obviously things are gonna happen, you know, in life. Just anything can happen. So it's good to have a backup plan so that just in case, you know.
Yeah, plans are really important.
And like for you, like you said, you were liberal, right?
Yeah, I was a liberal, and luckily I didn't have to do much to accomplish my objectives. I tried to pass some budget bills. None of them actually passed, but they influenced some of the ones that did pass.
Right, and you made a name for yourself. You established your point that you could make a big deal.
And so I met one of my two objectives. So I got 5 status points. So I did good. Didn't do the best. Didn't do very bad. But I still, it's just you just gotta get yourself out there, so that everyone knows what you can do.
And like in order to be successful inside, like so, let's take government officials for example.
Really?
Right? They're the ones that kind of help shape society, and they're the ones that make laws that they believe in. In order to do so, like they have to kind of manipulate others, in order to kind of do what they have to do to make society better.
I agree. Like they have to know how to get what they want, so that they can get their beliefs passed, and they can shape the society to their beliefs.
And it like for me, in order for me to be successful, I knew that I had to be on the better terms with a lot of the people, or else, you know, they're not going to give me respect. They're not going to give me what I need to survive.
Yeah,
they're not going to be there when all of a sudden I have no more resources. They're not going to be willing to help me out.
Definitely important, and that's definitely also important in real life. Just to definitely important. Well, those politicians that you're talking about, well, to be successful, not only do they have to know how to get what they want, but they also need to give a lot of effort.
Right, and like in order to do so, they really have to plan out what they're going to do in order to pursue all those big goals and achieve that big picture that they really want to get at. And so, really, for me, I felt like I was able to do so because what I did was I went and I talked to several of the upperclassmen with the same agenda I had, in order to get a perspective of what they did and incorporate that into my own plan.
Yeah, I agree that participation in Civic Mirror is very important. Like not only just for Civic Mirror, just checking it. Like I checked it almost every day, and I know that I did pretty well.
And I realized that in order to kind of get into the whole loop, you really have to participate in the town hall meetings, at any other event that kind of the court cases and all those. You really had to participate in order to get
if someone had done a court case, it definitely would have helped them. But unfortunately, we didn't. But if someone had done that, I agree that participation just in Civic Mirror and also just out of Civic Mirror, try to get some extra help, some extra insight from upperclassmen, like you said, is very important.
Right, and I mean so for me, what I've learned is that kind of the biggest part of achieving goals, not only in life, but also in this Civic Mirror, is to give effort. That's just more than half of the whole challenge.
Yeah, you just need to work hard in life to succeed. Just do stuff there's lots of different ways you can work hard. Just taking higher level classes to get an advantage over others, so you can get better education, a better job, just get a better life in general. And like you said, most of achieving goals is just effort. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It's just the effort that you give into it. I definitely agree with that.
Well, enough about that, dude. I got to work on that Goldberg final.
Let's check that out. What democracy? What is that?
The government files are already here.
Yeah, they really are. They really are.
How do you pause it?
Just hit the red button. Oh, man. Alright, Joey. Let's go, man. I gotta go study for that, goal.
This is going on our blooper section.